It's our second show of the morning, people, and we continue to react to the New York Jets Carolina Panthers game. I'm sure a lot of you were sleeping by the time I did my show last night / early this morning. So let's do it again, baby, with some more video clips, some takeaways, some key players, and so much more. Let's friggin' roll.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
What's poppin', everybody? Good morning. My name is Paul Weston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcast. And people, it's time to go to a guest. And no, you don't have to do a discount double check. This guy is back again. The encore performance, the fans chanting his name. I thought they were chanting my name. And then when I did a closer observation, there was a senior instead of a junior. Let's bring him in. It's the Eston Zone here on a Sunday. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Let's freaking go.
There you go.
Let's fast forward 32 games to game 3. Jets home opener. Let's go.
That's right. It is right around the corner, and that means there's only one preseason game left for the Jets. It's the old Snoopy Bowl. They don't call it that anymore, but I'll still call it that. Jets-Giants in the preseason finale. And before we get started, I just have to say, of course, you guys can join the Boy Green Coffee Club below. My father's a member. My mother's a member. You can see them all in here. My mother before the show, my father getting all the emojis out before the show. It's great. And I know you guys want to join the Boy Green Coffee Club, so you can do so at the link below. And I think the first guy who's rushing to do that is this guy named Molon Labe, who says right before our show, what's there to take away? Boring game, ? Molon, I know you want to run to be a Boy Green Coffee Club member and support the show, so feel free to do so in the comment section below. We'll see if somehow we can drag ourselves to a takeaway or two from the New York Jets Carolina Panthers game. With all that being said, let's get one of these in there. Wow. Which was exactly the commentary I thought when I read that comment. But that's neither here nor there. Pop, where do we want to go? Because to me, outside of Melon, I guess, I thought there was a lot to take away from the game. I was taking notes throughout. We got a couple of videos, notes, and quotes from the broadcast. Because some of us, if you were tuning into NFL Plus, may have gotten the Panthers broadcast. You may have missed a lot of the in-person interviews that were happening on the sideline there with several Jets players. It was probably more interesting than the in-game interview with the Panthers left guard that turned center. As fascinating and riveting as that conversation was, I would have preferred some other commentary. But why don't we start off right off the top? Pop, who was the player of the game? Who was the guy that just won the day as far as you were concerned?
Yeah, so this player, and you got to check your scorecards. You either saw it or you didn't see it in the game. This is the player of the game. This person single-handedly was responsible for the Jets' win. All right?
Okay.
And you don't have a drum roll thing, but it is – I'm going to mispronounce his name. Shamar Bartholomew.
Oh, Shamar Bar. now that you said it that way.
Yeah. Shamar Bartholomew. I think that's his name. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, he wears number 40. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm going to do these plays in reverse order. He broke up a sure interception in the third quarter. It would have been an interception, no doubt. Phenomenal play to break it up. Without that, the Jets lose. And a few plays before that, right, he blew his blocker into the backfield, made the tackle, the ball came loose, and he kept with the play and picked up the ball. It didn't turn out to be ruled a fumble, but that kind of powering through his block, breaking up the play, causing the ball to come loose in the mindset of always the ball hawk to pick it up. Those two plays right now, he's like fourth on the depth chart of cornerbacks. We need that guy in the team one way or another. But he definitely, in my opinion, he made the team.
Wow. Okay. We were kind of joking before the show because I didn't know the name that was going to come out of your mouth until it just did. I was like, nah, I think I know who it is. He's like, I don't think so. I'm like, okay. And nope, didn't know that was your guy. So, okay. I like the variance, and that's great. I'm going to stay there in the secondary. I'm going to go with a different guy who, sure, he had some contributions at his position, but his most notable contributions were in the return game. I'm going to go Brandon Codrington. And Salah, after the game, said he was the most productive player on either side, and he had a lot of wonderful things to say. And he ended up, Brandon, with over 100-plus return yards. He had a 63-yard kick return, and then also he added several punt returns to the mix to get that overall return yardage total to over 100 yards. And Salah said that's why we brought him in as a guy this offseason for that return ability. And it was really, for those who don't know, because like he's such a small name, so same thing as my dad did for Shamar. You're looking up things about him and seeing about him. It was basically a home game for him. He played at North Carolina Central, and a lot of his family was there at the game. And it's funny, he found out that big return he had to kick off the second half was a 63-yarder by the Jets team media people after the game. Here's a heartwarming clip, a quick 26-second clip of Brandon Codrington speaking with Carolina Hendershot. You love to see
Brandon, big game for you today. How are you feeling about the returns?
I feel excited. I feel great about what I was able to showcase today. It's trying to improve for next week.
What did you see on that 63-yard return?
63? Yeah. Okay. I just saw green grass. My coach been preaching, cut back. And, I just trusted him, trusted my teammates, trusted the blocking, and I just saw it open up.
You just love the genuineness there. Hey, 63 yards. What? It was that long, basically, is what Brandon was saying on the video there. It was awesome. So shout out to Brandon Codrington. Boy, he is firmly in the mix. Again, the cornerback room is incredibly deep. I think 5 are locks to make it. 5 number and 5 players with that. Sauce, DJ Reed, Michael Carter II, Brandon Eccles, and Quantas Diggers are all making the team. How many more corners are they keeping? If they're keeping more, that's where all of a sudden we get nifty. If it's Shamar, if it's Brandon Codrington, or what have you. But I thought he was a real big player from the game, a lot of fun, seems like a really cool guy. And so he was an easy guy to root for. And we're trying to find a return man, as he also mentioned, I didn't have it included in a clip, but he loves the new return rules. And he said it just gives you a lot more optionality with things you could do with how they have it set up. So he's attacking the moment, no doubt. And maybe he could be in the conversation because right now, healthy Xavier Gibson is the starter at both kick and punt.
Yeah, no, I like that. That was too easy to call him your player of the game.
Well,
right?
I mean, the player of the game.
Your grandmother doesn't know any. Oh, but that guy right there, he's pretty good.
Well, right. I didn't know it was
really
the prize player of the game.
Really deep with that analysis. Thanks for bringing that in.
Hey, who's your MVP of the game? Here's my secret dark horse under the radar MVP of the game. That wasn't the question. The question was, who was the player of the game? Well, the player of the game was very clear. It was this guy. He was super productive and relatively speaking, came out of nowhere. He was a no name. Also, I did mention this at the top of the show, but the Jets rested 32 guys of their 90. And that was obviously most of the main contributors and second level players of nearly every level of that defense. So they rested even more players this week than they did the previous week. And again, I'm just saying, I do not think that we are going to I just don't think we're going to get any starters next week. That's what my gut says. We'll see if I'm indeed wrong. I know MFC says here, I know it's preseason, but the play calling seemed boring and predictable. Again, there's no game planning involved. There's a little bit more for the final preseason game, but it's really not much. So if you guys are looking to be captivated, and that also may be difficult with Nathaniel Hackett operating the controls, but if you're looking to be captivated, whether that's in preseason or with Nathaniel Hackett operating a preseason game, I just don't think you're going to see it, just for those people that are curious.
Yeah.
So.
Just on that, for everyone out there that, says that Aaron Rodgers is going to call the plays and Hackett is, some ass clown puppet, it's why wouldn't you let him have called the plays now? In the past, the starting quarterbacks in preseason games have called the plays, have called them in when they're clearly not going to play. Because I'll tell you what, Hackett, right? There's one thing of vanilla play calling, and then there's another one showing your ass, right? And he was just terrible. He was just terrible. And you don't have to look any further than the first drive, right? There's no reason, right? Davis was not tired, right? He's been in the game. He's done some good runs. And then you decide you got to get a few things on that drive. I'll just run through them real quick. On fourth down, you don't bring in a guy who hasn't been in the game and throw him the ball, right? That is, moronic. Maybe in the third quarter, a guy's been in the game. He's been sitting on the bench for a while. You bring him in. You bring him in and you throw it to Allen. That play was never going to be successful, right? And so they failed it. And the last thing I would say is if you're an undrafted quarterback, it's great. You can put your belt for being the UFL or the Special Olympics MVP on the wall for yourself. But when you are an undrafted free agent, you know what you don't do when you have an opportunity in the third to get the first down is you don't slide. You get the first down.
Yeah, just a quick correction. Martinez is the UFL MVP, right?
Yes,
Peasley. Okay. No. Well, either way, the thing I would just say is on Peasley, I'm all for bashing Hackett with a baseball bat if and when the opportunity presents itself. Peasley just missed Braylon Allen wide open. I mean, that 4th and short play, it was a great call, and Braylon Allen was wide open, and Peasley skipped the rock at his feet. So it was a terrible throw. I don't know what, I don't know what was happening
there. Yeah. But some of the other things, let's stop throwing. If we think Corley's going to work on his route running, let's stop throwing him lame screen passes. Can we do that, please? Fail consistently. You can mix him in.
Yeah, okay.
But not be he had 2 passes yesterday, a terrible screen pass with the 12th string offensive line and a slant to make a first down. So if he needs to work on something, let him work on something.
Okay. That's fair enough. By the way, I'm going to drop it in here. So you guys can join the Boy Green Coffee Club. I see people asking about it. It's also in our YouTube description down below. So if you would like to join, there it is. I see who is asking that. David Jackson. You could join the Boy Green Coffee Club at that link I just dropped into the comments section. You just click that and join. It's very easy peasy. To be able to join the club. It's only $2.99 a month, and you'll get a loyalty badge. You'll get access to the emojis, and of course, you'll have the access to our Discord channel as well. So, David, feel free to do that. And I should be notified when you do join, if and when that does happen here during the show. We could celebrate it. So, hopefully, we'll be able to do so that for you as well. Let's see. Another guy that certainly stood out was Will McDonald, man. He had the spin move sack, which was very nice. And I said this late last night. I don't know how many people ended up seeing that show, so I might repeat myself a little bit here. But I got a lot of I reshared a clip because the Jets played the Panthers last year in the preseason, and Will McDonald had this spin move sack last year, and that was his first sack in the preseason that had happened. I heard a lot of people complaining to the tweet that's the only move he has is a spin move, like lame. And I compared it to Ronda Rousey, who has an arm bar and broke everyone's arm off, and then even when they knew it was coming, she could still arm bar them to death. And it worked. That to me is more impressive. You know it's coming and there's nothing you can do to stop it. If Will McDonald's doing spin moves and it's working, I've got no problems with it whatsoever. Let's keep letting him roll with it. Hopefully eventually as he goes throughout his career, he adds more to the tool bag and figures it out. But if that's a calling card and it continues to work, whether he's spinning inside or outside, this move last night was inside spin, which was awesome. I've got no problem with it. What are your thoughts on people that criticize and complain about the old McDonald's spin cycle on the washing machine?
Yeah. You know what? Defensive linemen, you have different moves. And similar to running vanilla play calls, you don't want to show them all right now, right? If that's what he wants to bring out of his bag of tricks, there's a bunch of things you can do from the his name is escaping. His first name escaped me, but Deacon Jones. Yeah, Deacon Jones, a head slap, which they outlawed, right? Yeah. Or or the Reggie White entire like hip toss that he used to do, or the Michael Strahan where he showed him the gap in his teeth. There's a bunch of things you do, but or the speed rush. You don't want to show them everything right now because, offensive linemen watch tape, right? And so, he has a spin move. And by the way, it worked, right? Is you going to do that every time? By the way, anytime you're double teamed, the go-to move is the spin, right? Or if you break through it would be ideal, but unrealistic, right? Or you hold your place. It depends on your defensive strategy. You want the linebackers to clean up, right? You hold your place or hold them and let your linebackers get in there while you're occupying two players. So the spin move is fine, but again, I would expect every player to not show as double moves or whatever it is, or the spin move. You don't show everything in the second preseason game of the year.
Yeah, that's 100% true. We can all debate, and the debates continue, whether or not Will McDonald was the right pick. Is he going to develop? What's he going to turn into? What happens if Hassan Reddick isn't there? There's a lot of questions out there about those things. And, we can have those debates. What isn't up for debate is Will McDonald must be one of the funniest guys on the team. After the game, he spoke with Caroline Hendershot, and she asked him what he saw on his play and what teammates ended up helping him out. He just ended up making a lot of noises like the guy from RoboCop.
Will, you finally got that sack tonight. I know it's preseason, but you displayed your classic spin move. What did you see on that play?
I just already knew I was about to do it. Came out, it came down, came out. I was like, hey, this might be my last one. Let me go ahead and go crazy. Said boom, 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 boom. Went inside, got the sack, gave him a little man. Went right out, went to the sideline, got hyped with my teammates, went crazy. That was it.
What teammate of yours helped make that play happen?
They all did. I told them, I said, I was on the field with my boy. I was like, hey, I got here, bro. I got inside. Give me right. I'm talking about get down, boom, inside move, sack, easy. Went and got hyped with my boys, went to the sideline, went crazy.
Wow. So a lot to unpack there. Boom, boom, woo, woo, woo. Shoo, shoo, shoo. Sack.
Yeah, he sounds like a kid on prom night.
Yeah, gross. But either way, I'm glad that he was able to find his way home. God bless him.
Right, and what the hell how's that a lead off? I won't say the word, but you finally got your sack. Hey, shut up.
Also, that just I don't understand what she meant. I know Carolina. I've had her on the show. I'm not sure I understand the question, unless it was just I don't know if that was his first sack of the preseason entirely. Maybe that's true. Yeah, I think so because I don't think he had a sack last week. So maybe that's it. But like he's had sacks of the regular season. Like that, I don't know. That just seemed weird. But not. I don't know if he's hunting for preseason sacks or something. But either way, that was kind of funny. So yeah, Will McDonald, which was great. And people, by the way, were I said it on the show yesterday. They were thanking Bill Belichick in the middle of the game because apparently the Jets ended up with Will McDonald because Bill Belichick tried to screw them because they were going to go for Rodgers Jones and he traded that pick to the Steelers, and they tried to, roll him over. And now Rodgers Jones looked like crap last night, getting slapped around by the Buffalo Bills, and Will McDonald had the sack. So, hey, full circle, baby. It looks a great way. What'd you make of the quarterback? So we don't know the decision till the game. No Tyrod Taylor. He ends up being healthy. I was going to say healthy scratch. Technically, it's QB3, which is an emergency quarterback. That means if the first two are hurt, then he's allowed to enter the game. But obviously, no one wanted to see that. So we got first half, second half. But the Jets did not listen to you, Pop, and did not flip them where Martinez got the whack with the better unit, which, is what it is. But it does sound like we're going to get the opposite. So we had Andrew Peasley first half, Adrian Martinez second half. It sounds like according to Saw, it's going to flip. It should be Martinez first half Giants, second half Peasley, and then let's see a battle for QB3, or even if there is a QB3, because we really overreacted to the first week. Awesome. This week wasn't as great for the two guys.
Yeah. Before we just want to jump back to Will McDonald real quick.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
He's looking good, but it's preseason. And let's calm down, right?
Of course, yeah.
He played 15 games last year, had 9 sacks. All right, so let's calm down. 9 tackles. Let me be more clear.
Oh, it's like, whoa.
9 tackles in 15 games. So this is his golden opportunity. We'll know probably about midseason whether we made a wrong decision. We drafted him last year or not. But anyways, as far as the quarterbacks go, to me, neither played spectacular, but it was there's no need to swap. It's closing time, right? It's very clear who the quarterback should be. And Adrian Martinez looked, let me check the stat board. He looked terrible. His interception, that's backyard football. Backyard football, right? It wasn't a timing route that he got wrong. It wasn't the receiver ran the wrong route. He was not under pressure despite what the terrible announcer said, right? He was wide. The guy was wide open.
Fourth down. Yeah.
Fourth down. It was backyard football. You know, the little video game with little kids running around. That guy, he throws it up and out to the left. It's a touchdown, right? He throws it in the middle where the guy had been 12 seconds ago, right? That was terrible. And he could have had 4 picks last night. He was underthrowing. Mistiming. It was bad. There was at least 1 or 2 in the end zone that could have been interceptions. There was a lot, and he really showed that he needs some more time to develop, and that time is on the practice squad. In the event that you needed the third guy, it's not him. Unless you're going to get where we were last year, or when we had DeVito for the Giants, when he started that game for the Giants a year or 2 ago, and you knew that he was never going to throw the ball. He was just going to hand it off. I think he threw one pass in 60 minutes. So, Adrian Martinez, not there. You know, he had some splashes game 1 last night. He was terrible. And he was lucky to only throw 1 pick. And the pick you wouldn't have thrown. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So he is definitely – it's not that it's a gain by attrition, right? Peasley looked better because of how bad Adrian Martinez, like a beauty contest with a 99-year-old woman. You know, I guess you win.
Oh, I thought you were going to do maybe a bar reference with the rating system.
I pumped the brakes on that. Yeah.
Okay, that's very nice. Yeah, we're in 2024. I guess things have to evolve. But I would say that Martinez, again, that intercept, I just don't understand. Everything was open. I'm like, oh, perfect. What a great opportunity to show your stuff for your team. A key pivotal moment, hike the ball, wide open guy right there in front of your face, and you sailed it, gets picked off and leads to a scoring drive for the Carolina Panthers because it was nearly a pick 6, but thankfully they tackled them down. I think it ended up only being a field goal on that drive. So, Martinez had a lot of bad moments, but to be honest, I mean, Andrew Beasley, yuck. There was a lot of terrible. Now, I think it must have been because we didn't see it at all in the first preseason game against the Commanders. The coaching staff must have said, dude, to Andrew Beasley, use your legs more, man. And I think he used it a little too much. It was like he was trying to do an Adrian Martinez impression. He was running around all over the place. I think if he kept his eyes downfield, he missed a lot of big play opportunities down the field, which is something I really liked that Martinez did last week. They had a lot of good runs. We also moved around really well and kept his eyes down the field for some big plays, which were a couple of the ones to Brandon Smith. So Beasley, and yes, as you mentioned way earlier in the show, Beasley, come on, man. Like, you could see it live in the moment, what you need. You know the play is 3rd and 6. Dive head first, man. This sliding business for a 4th and short situation. Come on, man. Put it on the line for your team. They're going to respect it. He did take some unnecessary stupid hits, like not like doing it for your team where he rolled out to the right and just like kind of wailed, and then the Panthers guy just spiked him on his head. I'm like, okay, that you don't get any tough brownie points for that one, buddy. So I think last week, just to add this, last week I thought that there was a chance these two guys could compete for QB3. With how they looked, maybe you just don't keep a QB3. Maybe it's Aaron, it's Tyrod, and then these guys are on the practice squad.
Yeah, and I would say that there were more opportunities. The play calling was not even between the two, right? And the opportunities to throw the ball downfield were really more Martinez's based on what they called at the beginning of the game. Right. Neither one. Yeah, here's the analogy. Peasley won the day, in my opinion, but he won the day because he was the shiniest peanut in the turd, so to speak, right?
Ah, I see.
Adrian Martinez being the turd, so.
Yeah. I appreciate the clarity on that fact. Again, as we confirmed before the show, Dad, both of us got the Carolina Panthers broadcast, which had Anish Shroff of ESPN, and he's also the voice of the Panthers on top of his other jobs, and Steve Smith Sr. So that means both of us missed Aaron Rodgers doing an interview on the sideline with Ian Eagle and Anthony Becht. So there was a couple of clips I wanted to throw out your way and just kind of get your thoughts on. First off, he seems, Aaron Rodgers, very high on this team's offensive line, which of course features a lot of changes. Tyron Smith, Morgan Moses, John Simpson. And he talked about that after the game. Let's play this clip. Again, this is Aaron Rodgers on the sideline. This is the Jets version of the broadcast. A lot of us were stuck with the Panthers broadcast. You may have missed entirely this quick 3-minute interview, but I'm not playing the full 3 minutes right now. I've clipped it up. Here's Aaron Rodgers on the offensive line and why he's very high on it heading into the season.
What excites you about the potential of this offense with this group?
Well, I think there's always markers, and we try not to compare too many things, but if you look at the way we practiced against Carolina last year, we didn't do great against their front. And compared to what happened a couple of days ago in practice, I felt you coming out of practice feeling really good about things. Obviously, the line looks a little different. Added some veteran guys to it, but I like the momentum that we have up front, the way those guys are blocking, and I love Joe at center. He's been a really solid second-year player for us. But adding Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses, really solidifies the edges. But more than that, it brings those veteran presences into the room to help Keith. Because the best rooms, like the best teams, are player-led, and you need those veteran voices to help those guys out. Because we have so many young guys who played a lot last year. Obviously, Tip being a second-year guy now, and bringing in John Simpson. You watch John practice. He's been probably the most surprising, and not in disrespect to John. I didn't know a whole lot about him, but the way he's practiced and played is phenomenal. So you feel really good about the offensive line, and we're coming together. It's tough to joint practices because we don't do a whole lot in them, just like kind of preseason, but feel good about the squad.
All right. Feels good about the squad. What do you make of his assessment of the Jets offensive line to this point?
Yeah. First of all, I'd like to say, did he go to the mall, like that little kiosk in the mall where they have the chain wrapped around? They're like, how much do you want? Oh, 2 feet, and they cut it off. Did he steal it from one of his teammates? I don't know.
Well, I guess we'll just go right into that clip. He was asked immediately upon jumping on the interview, whoa, that chain. Well, here's that interaction.
Something explosive, though, on your neck. Is that new bling that I noticed?
My new best friend, Javon Kinlaw, gave me this.
Is that
I want you to look at Swaggy for this interview. I said, okay, cool. I mean, Tyrod sets the standard. You guys seen Tyrod. You saw what he wore, and today he had some jorts. I didn't know jorts were back. I thought that was kind of a 90s thing.
No, they're back.
But he had long jorts and a sweet shirt. And, he had to match his shoes to something, hat. He's always looking good. So I'm like the old guy with no style. So Javon said, hey, put this on.
It's the baggy jorts, though. That was the difference. I think that flow past the shin area was really what they were looking for there.
I mean, I wore those my first day of school in 1992. I think
we actually have a photo of that. Aaron, we're going to bring that up.
Show that. Do the montage.
Yeah, there you go. He gave a shout out both to a lot of his teammates. So Javon Kinlaw is the one that slapped that chain on him right before he said he wanted him looking swaggy for the interview. So it was Kinlaw's chain he was wearing on the sideline. He also gave a shout out, Dad. I don't know if you lived in this era of this fashion, but Aaron Rodgers has gone out of his way to give a lot of compliments to his backup quarterback Tyrod Taylor for the drip that he brings to the table. Apparently in the pregame he was wearing jorts. Are jorts back? Were they ever in for you?
Jorts?
Yeah.
No, they were not.
You're not a Jort
He's gonna get like it's gonna be pure Jet stuff because he's gonna get like a nice green mark on his neck.
You think that's fake? That looks real. I don't know. Javon's making a lot of money, man.
He could be, but it definitely looks like the middle of the mall, that little kiosk. But it's interesting. Aaron Rodgers' take on the offensive line, to go back to the original question.
Yes.
Because the media's take and everyone that watched the game said the offensive line did not perform well in that joint practice, and that he would have been viewing the sky, and easier for him to pick the grass that he likes to do because he would have been laying with his back on it a few times in a real game scenario. So it is interesting that he was playing.
Saleh said the same thing, by the way. So I want to make sure it's in the same breath. Saleh after the game, because the joint practice happened on Thursday. They had Friday off and then game Saturday. So we didn't talk to Saleh in between the joint practice happening and then anything else. So this was his first chance, and they asked him about that. He said he loved how his offensive line fired off the ball. Because if you remember, last year, I don't have to play the clip, Robert Saleh in a swearing-laden video on Hard Knocks ripped his team for how they performed on the offensive line. He says it doesn't mean bleep if we have star quarterbacks, star receivers, and all this stuff. If he can't be upright, it's not going to bleep and matter. So, it sounds like from both Saleh and Rodgers that they loved how the differences from this year to last year.
Yeah, and then they proceeded to do nothing to shore up that offensive line last year. So maybe it's a different strategy. I'll tell you, the media reported that there was some trouble afoot coming right up the middle on the offensive line there. So hopefully, they shored up or it wasn't an issue, but I'm sure somebody saw something. But, so that's going to be the real key is that offensive line. Then no starters last night, which is fine. I think they think they're confident with what they have, so positive about that. The last thing I want to say is that the defensive team that started the game and was on the field was stout. Let's just say stout. And however, they should have aided their teammates who play at the end. Because I remember Coach Miller was my defensive line coach back in the day. And you know what you do when you hit somebody you weren't much of a tackler, except you're, tackling the Gatorade bar. But really, and your mom's going to say, leave that boy alone. But really, that touchdown would never have happened if you wrap up and you drive. Right, that guy.
At the end of the game you're talking about?
At the end of the game, the touchdown should never have happened. You got to wrap up. And I don't care if you put on pads. You've heard that a million times in your life. Wrap up and drive. And definitely, I think he broke like 3 or 4 tackles. There's no way that guy should have gotten the end zone. So, but other than that, overall defense looked impressive. Again, not, they're resting, whatever you said, 30 players.
32,
32, and that was 32 of the 53. Let's be clear.
Yeah, right. Now, it's technically right. 32 of the 90, but it was 32 of the 53. Yes. Which, by the way, I see we have a question about, so I'll just answer it. So, Joe Mike here is thanks for joining us on YouTube. Isaiah Oliver was one of those 32. Why? He was terrible the first preseason game. No way he should be a lock for the 53-man roster. I think a very simple thing to do here when you're thinking, should a guy make it? Should a guy not make it? Look at his contract. What's the guaranteed money? Well, that normally will tell you whether he's going to make it or not make it. When he signed his deal, and I'll pull it back up so I have the correct numbers here, he was the first move the New York Jets made this offseason. Because the 49ers released him, they were able to sign him before free agency even started for this move, which was Isaiah Oliver, who is the former member of the San Francisco 49ers. And as that's loading up on Spot Track, I remember a significant portion of his contract being guaranteed, which first off goes to show what the Jets think about him as a player and everything else that they're bringing in. And plus, it also says roster security and things of that nature. So Spot Track always is a little bit late on the loading. But that's what I would say about Isaiah Oliver, who, by the way, was a corner predominantly in his career, and the Jets are shifting him over to the safety position, which, by the way, I think gives him a better chance considering all the wonderful corners that the New York Jets have in the room. So we'll see if that's able to pop up here before the show's over, and I'll come back to whatever the contract thing pops up here from Spot Track, Joe. That's what I would say about that. Also, I wouldn't overrate a preseason game, whether, as my father just said, well, wow, Will McDonald the sack, like, whoa, like, come on now. Which is another thing. By the way, my daughter hasn't been coming on the show often. She's just been sleeping in. But I will tell you a new thing that she will do. So, wow, right? Like, let's play that again. We don't play it enough, NYJ or NY Phil says. Wow. That's true. A new one that could join the mix. And I saw it last night, and she's just doing things that wow you, pun intended, I suppose. So I do this thing to her, like if she's trying to do something that's a little bad, I'll be like, whoa, whoa. And she'll like smile and go, I'm sorry, I shouldn't. Or if she's about to do something, she'll look at me and I go, whoa, whoa. And then she'll stop. So yesterday in Walmart, I went to go tickle her and she went, whoa. Whoa. And I went, holy friggin' crap. I was like, whoa, this kid's learning things. So boy, that is coming on. So that might be the next viral sensation when she comes on here and just starts woeing people. That may be next on the list. There's no other way to put it. That is for certain. So again, the kids continue to fascinate you with all kinds of things that they do. Yeah, I'm now going over to over the cap rather. So yeah, here it is. He signed a 1-year deal for $2.5 million. $2.16 million of the $2.5 million is guaranteed. That means he's likely to stay. So I wouldn't overreact the preseason game. I'm not saying he's the second coming of Ronnie Lott, but the Jets obviously thought a lot about him when they signed. So that's why he, again, is a roster lock, in my opinion. And that's why I think like Jalen Key, not looking good. He's been MIA outside of a dropped interception, which again, you can't do those plays. Al Blades Jr., another corner who I didn't have making the roster anyway, but he dropped a easy peasy interception. If these guys want to make plays and do things, that is what you have to do, people. So it is great. Any other thoughts on the preseason before we take it to the fans?
Yeah, just one more, and it
Sure.
just hit me. We're talking, and I'm surprised myself.
Okay.
There's some, this person should have been in game 1 and game 2, and not for a lot, for a series or two, just like Tippmann was, right?
Okay.
You want somebody to prove something, right? Where is Lazard? Why is his ass not out there, right? That's a message to him, and for an opportunity for him. And not playing him, I know apparently, you want to protect it. He's guaranteed money. It wouldn't be the worst thing if he went out there and got hurt. But anyways, the opportunity for him to go out and show something, and to him to be an asset for these young quarterbacks to throw to, right? The leading receiver is Corley, which is great, good for him. But Lazard owes the Jets. He needs to show the Jets something. And I think it's an opportunity. They should have had him out there. Again, I'm not saying beat him up, 60 minutes of play, but a series or two, because clearly even he can't think that he played well last year, right? And so he has some making up to do. And why wouldn't he be on the field? So he's probably not going to be on the field the entire preseason. But conceptually speaking, right, he should have been in a series or two, maybe a series for each of the quarterbacks, right, to give somebody, well, theoretically, who's got some skills, someone to throw the ball to, which is going to help them a better display of their talents.
Yeah, I would just say I think the reason why they're not, first off, is obviously we talked about roster lock. I would say the other thing is that the Jets believe Allen Lazard is Mike Williams' insurance. And while Mike Williams looks great in practice so far, we're talking about practice, as he continues to come back from his torn ACL. He's doing all the individual drills. Man, he should be in team drills very near future here ahead of the season. I think he's the break the glass guy. If Lazard was to get hurt, then all of a sudden your wide receiver depth looks really spotty very quickly. Because you have Mike, who is compromised at this point. You have Lazard, who's compromised from a performance standpoint. You have Garrett. You have Malachi Corley, who they're trying to work in. Xavier Gibson just came off of injury. You just really go through that receiver room pretty quick if you don't, I suppose. That's probably the reason in terms of that. And then let me just go through my notes to see if there's anything else. Shout out to Izzy. Now, it's not a good sign that they were going to all these other guys. He didn't get a touch until the second half. So, boy, it does not look good for Israel Benekanda for making this roster, but I will give him credit for he was running like nobody's business, trying. The try hard was there. That were really, last week you didn't see as much pop from Izzy, so a tip of the cap to Izzy. I'm cool with resting Braylon Allen. He was one of the whatever that is, the rest of the 90 men, that didn't rest yesterday, did play. I'm cool. He's RB2. He's locked that job in. I don't need to see him anymore. He's someone I'd prefer not to get hurt. And as someone else mentioned as well, Olu Fashanu played right tackle for the very first time in his career. So Olu Fashanu, who played 100% of his snaps at the collegiate level at left tackle. He had been practicing at right tackle all week. And what he needed to prove to the Jets is that he is their not right tackle, their swing tackle, that he could fill in wherever necessary here in his rookie campaign. So a big shout out there to Olu Fashanu at right tackle looked pretty damn good. Pretty damn good.
I hate to jump back, but, there are times when, just the whole Lazard thing, right? Keeping him in reserve. There are a few times last year we kept him in reserve, i.e. we didn't even have him on the 53-man roster. So, but anyways, I digress. We have not heard the Hep music in a while.
No,
it seems like we're missing something. At least on the weekend show, we should play at least once. We're about to leave. We're about to leave the 2-day show without hearing Hep doing some singing.
That's a good point. I want it more often, and we have it both in video and audio form. So we'll play that here in just a second because I think we got a special guest that's going to be joining us here in a second. Jarek Burner Converse, by the way, went out early for the game yesterday with a groin. That doesn't look good, but we'll see when they return back to the Jets facilities to get a look at him. Isaiah Davis ran the ball very well. I think he's your RB3 this year. And that's it. And then there was a couple stupid penalties. So we got to rein that in. A lot of stupid penalties. But let's play the music.
Okay. Boy Green Daily, we're talking Jets. We are the best. Forget the rest. We're up to date. We're going there. Super Bowl's coming, so all beware. Yeah.
There was a lot of terrible. Now, I think it must have been. Oh, I was about to say, whoa, we got another one. So let's bring him in. Have him joining us here on the show.
Yeah, when you're playing videos, I can't hear them. I don't know if there's a problem with that. I'm not sure everyone else can either. So,
yeah, I didn't hear it. It's funny because I see you guys rocking out, but I don't hear any sound. It's like,
Okay, all right. I will work on that. Let me see. Okay, well, anywho, Hep, welcome.
How's it going, guys? I'm working on a new song for you. I'm thinking about I'll record it on my studio and then I'll get it good for you. Something good.
Wow. Okay.
That was just
great.
the moment thing off the top of my head. I'll work on it for you.
That was impressive.
All right, guys. Now as far as the game's concerned, it was a bit of a bore game, a little boring. But it was really a good showcase for our running backs. I agree. Davis looks good, and Allen looks good. Izzy looked a little bit of a pop, a little bit, and I don't think enough to do anything.
No.
Brownlee, on the other hand, he didn't have such a good night. I thought, I think he might have shot himself in the foot. But we're kind of shallow on the wide receiver end anyway. What do you think? You think he hurt himself, Brownlee?
Oh yeah, he looked awful. There's no other way to put it. Drops. He got knocked around by the Panthers corners, and none of their real starters were playing. So that to me is not an encouraging sign. So yeah, he just looked god awful. And again, I'm going to have to give it another rewatch this week to really see. And that was just live during the game. And like I said, I was telling my dad that I have a little notebook here. When things happen to the game, I'm like, note. And then hopefully the post game I could kind of look back through to see if I missed anything. And I just saw a lot of Brownlee. Oh, disgusting. Brownlee. So I wrote that apparently several times in the notebook, which can't be a good sign. And I just remember certain plays in my head. So yeah, it does not look good for Brownlee. Again, he was okay in the first one with the touchdown, but this one he looked terrible. So we'll see what happens in the Giants game. But boy, the Brownlee story, outside of a lot of chirping from outside, ooh, dark horse, ooh, looks good. We haven't had a lot of results.
No, I don't think so. Anyway, enjoy your bacon, Mr. Edson. And
all right, thanks.
See you, Paul. Bye.
All right, beautiful. Hep, thanks for joining us. Okay, so I got to figure out the sounds here. I don't, that's odd. So yeah, if you guys, I just said it in the chat. Oh, so Phil heard it. Okay, so some people are hearing it.
Yeah, and when it's not coming up on my screen, and I didn't get the second Rodgers one either, but I don't know.
But you get the first Rodgers?
Yeah, I saw the first one, and that's how I was able to comment on the chain. The second one, I didn't see video, I didn't hear sounds, but maybe it's just me.
Alrighty, apparently not. So yeah, okay, all right. Well, interesting. All right, well, we'll try to work on that behind the scenes for sure. So apologies for some of these things that are not playing apparently.
Well, a lot of people are saying that you can hear it. So
okay, well, I have no idea what's going on, but either way, that's terrific. So yeah. Yeah, well, there you go. For Hep calling in. Okay, we had a couple of members join, so let's do some housekeeping on some of those, baby. First off, Jared B. I have no idea if anyone's going to hear this, but okay, all right, beautiful. Did you hear that one, Pop?
I heard that, and the old Zariah Wow. I heard it was just those other two. I did not.
Okay, Grove Pete, you are now a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club. Jerby, if you haven't seen it already, we'll drop the Discord link. You now have a loyalty badge, the unlocking of all emojis, and of course, like I said, access to that Discord channel. We have one other member that's joining us. Shout out to MFC, mother_effin_chew. Let's play those chimes, baby. And that is BP York. BP York, whoever you are now a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club. Welcome to an elite fraternity, buddy boy. And you have, like I said, all those wonderful things I just said for a last Boy Green Coffee Club member. You have all of that access, which is pretty cool. This gives you a month trial to test out the waters, take the car for a spin, see how you like it. And if you like it, you could stay long term. We'd love to have you. The Army is growing very quickly and very passionately, which we love to see. So shout out to MFC and Jared B for sharing both, or gifting rather, both of those memberships. You guys can also purchase your own membership. Make sure you pay it forward as well. Okay, beautiful.
It's worthwhile mentioning that aren't you and it's going to be like Family Feud for me. My two sons duking it out on the Snowball Johnny show. I don't know what that show is. A worldwide something.
Yeah,
it's almost like Step Brothers. Step Brothers. What was that? What was that thing that what was the company that Step Brothers put together? Something international.
Let me see what that was. Yeah. What was the Step Brothers company? Company name was Prestige Worldwide.
That's what I thought of. Prestige Worldwide. That's Johnny and Snowball. Worldwide Jets or whatever.
Yeah, it's one word. Yeah, it's Jets Worldwide. It's one word, but yes, it is like Step Brothers, Will Ferrell, and that group. That is a Prestige Worldwide. Wide. Yeah, so Jets Worldwide. That show, by the way, is at 10:30. That'll be my third show of the morning here, baby, which you love to see. So that'll be essentially the match game, if you guys remember that from back in the day. But it's got a Jets twist. It's got incredibly. It's all New York Jets basically. So it'll be me versus Woody with a talented cast of content creators. I have no idea who any of them are, so that should make it even more interesting. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. We got Terrence joining us here on the show. What's up, Terrence?
Hey, good morning, guys. How y'all doing today?
Oh, good to see you.
All right. So, I've been watching. I was doing stuff, so I couldn't take a lot of notes.
Okay.
What's the main thing that you guys were focused on?
What would be your main thing there, Pop? Again, I got a lot of notes. A shout out, by the way, I didn't mention this one, is Steve Smith during the game. He did some stuff for NFL Network where he was studying all the players and doing some scouting reports. And he said this about rookie wide receiver Malachi Corley, which I think is interesting because this has been a criticism of him. This was a direct quote from Steve Smith during the game because we got, unfortunately, the Panthers broadcast. Quote, Malachi Corley can run every route on the route tree. And he said that he studied him ahead of the draft, and he said he thinks he's going to be a dog, quote unquote. So that's a fun one. But if I had to pick a main takeaway, it was Brandon Codrington being amazing and winning the day, and Isaiah Davis showing some chutzpah in the run game, which makes you feel even better about the running back room. He was looking very dicey running the ball against Washington. He looked a lot better here against Carolina. That's what I'd say.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you talked about second and third stringers. Because us Jet fans, when we watched the preseason in the past, our third and fourth stringers, they played really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And when your third and fourth stringers are playing really bad, then your starters are bad. And if we're talking about our third and fourth stringers playing pretty well, decent, or really good, then our starters are really good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a turning point. That's a turning point. So and then everybody's talking about, remember when I came on the other day and I was telling you about we walk in with Reddick and come out with McDonald.
Yeah.
You see that now, right? You see that the $50 on the floor was way more valuable than the $20 you walked in the bar with, right?
Yeah, let me float. Excuse me if I could pick my words. I float that over to my father. So, Dad, this is something me and Terrence were talking about the other day, and I thought it was a really interesting point. So the Jets obviously thought they needed Hassan Reddick a couple of months ago. That's why they traded for him. So they have Jermaine Johnson, they have Will McDonald, but they wanted another pass rusher entering the room, so they traded for Hassan Reddick. And okay, so they have Hassan Reddick in the room, but obviously Hassan Reddick's been gone since April 1st, so he's not been there. But the Jets initially thought they needed him. But could they have stumbled into the fact that, whoa, maybe Will McDonald is further along than we thought, and then Hassan Reddick is no longer a necessity but a luxury. So now you've got Will McDonald who's playing above expectation. You have Jermaine Johnson who's making that leap, and hopefully the rest of the guys in the room that are also filling holes. Again, this defense obviously is better with Hassan Reddick on it, but to Terrence's point, it's almost like, you just come upon $50. You're like, whoa, okay, here we go here. That's a little bit of a bonus perhaps we weren't expecting. Maybe that could potentially happen here for the Jets. What do you make of that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because again, if the defense is a cohesive unit, right? And you do have Quentin Williams there who's going to help anybody on the edge. And so right now, the benefit, the pot of gold, the end of the rainbow may be the recognition that Hassan Reddick may be expendable, right? He'd be great to have, but it'd be like when you had your OBJ love, right? You wanted, well, let's bring in OBJ. We need, let's go get, I can't his name, Devontae Adams. Let's get, okay, calm down. We're fine without him. And we may find out that's the case with Hassan Reddick, right? He may have been in a situation where he eventually shows up and like, oh, okay, thanks for showing up. But we really don't need you. So yeah, there's absolutely could be the learning from this. It could be, really he might have helped the Jets out in this situation.
And and one thing that because as Jet fans, the preseason is usually our season. Then the regular season comes, and it's like so. When I see these guys and they come out and they play the way they do, they know where this team is going and they want to be a part of it. So they're like, I'm gonna bust my tail out here so I could be a part of this ride. And you could just see the changing of the franchise, of how they're starting to develop players, and then they're willing other great players to come want to play with us. So it's the change of the guard right now,
And
go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and maybe I should be surprised because, again, the NFL is a business, and I've never been anywhere close to the NFL, so maybe I just will never know. But it's exactly to what you're saying. Aaron Rodgers, and he kind of indicated in his presser that people just want to seem to want to be a part of this thing with the Jets. They can feel it. The energy is palpable. They think they are capable of doing something crazy this year with all the talent on this team. And maybe Hassan Reddick just hasn't been around it, so he can't be infected by the energy, I guess. But just seeing it from afar, it just seems exciting. It seems like something I want to be a part of. Man, they're going to be good. And if I'm Hassan Reddick and I'm talking here, like, I'm really good. Man, if I'm really good and I join what's already really good, who knows where this could potentially land. So, again, I guess it's just finances, but I am surprised that, he doesn't just say to himself, you know what if I'm a hired mercenary? I'm making $14 million. Well, you were before fines. I'm making, and maybe they give you a little bit of a bump. You change your holdout to a hold in. They say, okay, we'll give you incentives to $20 million. He's like, all right, let's ride. Let's go. And then he gets this incredible bag next year, which I think would be waiting for him at 30 years of age to get one last big deal before he hangs up his cleats. That's what I would say.
Okay, and then one last point. I think I brought this up before, but I'll bring it up again. If Reddick is like this, if let's say they told you we have a 10-game season, I'm gonna pay you $5 a game. I'm gonna keep the number low. Pay you $5 a game. So that's $50 for the whole season. And you say, well, I'm worth $10 a game. So if you're only gonna pay me $50 for the season, I'm only gonna pay the last 5. So I think Reddick is probably thinking the same way. Whatever the amount you're gonna pay me, if I average it per game, that's how many games I'm gonna play. And that's why I think he's gonna come at the end of the season. He's going to play the last few games. He's going to tear it up in the playoffs. He's going to do his thing in the Super Bowl, probably get 12 sacks in those last few games. And then, like you said, next year, get the big contract from another team.
Yeah, the only thing I would say about that, Terrence, is if he he's got some. There's something about week 6 or 7 that's something in the CBA that talks about it, and yeah, his holding out he'll never get the game money per game that he wants because he loses money every game. But there's some lock around week 6 or 7. They don't show up something significant. I don't remember exactly what it is, but there's some golden line in the sand about week 6 that they really get penalized. I don't remember. I haven't looked that up, but
yeah, I'm trying to find the number. Basically, what my father's talking about is a credited season. I'm on the NFLPA website. I was trying to see if they had it, but this number can't be right. It's not only 3; it's way more than that. But you have to appear in insert amount of games minimum for the season to count. Or again, the Jets would control your rights going into next year, which I'm sure is something definitely Hassan Reddick doesn't want. So yeah, so let's say week 6. So he could sit out for a period of time. It's also worth noting that for people who don't know, NFL players starting in the regular season get paid by the week. So every week you don't show up, that's a game check you're not getting. So I guess he and his cap people could do the math to see, okay, they're only going to pay me this. I'm going to do this amount of games, and that's the only effort you're going to get. It could be. There might be something to it. I think that is interesting. But again, I just don't get it. If Hassan Reddick's really good at football, why you're under contract? It'd be one thing if you were a free agent. It'd be a totally different conversation if he was a straight up free agent and everyone could bid on him. But that's not what this is. So we'll see. I was just playing Madden, which obviously is an indicator of what people should be doing. Hassan Reddick's nasty in Madden with the rest of this Jets defense. It's a race to get to the quarterback. It's like the guy goes fire on a play, and Quinnen Williams, Jermaine shots are all like blitzkrieging the quarterback. I'm like, this is fun. We're seeing who's getting first place in this race to the quarterback each time. It's terrific. So, yeah, again, I just hope he's here. And my gut would say right now, if I had a new updated gut, I think he shows up by week 2. I think this is going to drag. Unfortunately, I hope not, but my gut says this is going to go to week 1, and we'll see what happens. Did the Jets win? Did the Jets lose? Did the pass rush happen without him? And then some leverage will be swayed, and then he shows up for the rest of the season. That's basically how I foresee it playing out.
Okay, so then that's all right. So I'm gonna take what you said and say, okay, so then let's create a story with Reddick. I'm talking about them sitting in the room and talking now. All right, The fans hate you, Hassan Reddick. They hate you because you're not there. The players don't know who you are because you're not there. So let's sign you, and you come in for the home opener against New England.
Oh, yeah.
Get 2, maybe 2.5, 3 sacks, and then you win the crowd back over, and your teammates will love you. How about that?
Great. It feels like a WWE pitch. All right, we got to get you over, pal. Here's how we can do it. Week 3, home opener. The crowd's going to be wild, right? And so it was like, you have a match between, Hulk Hogan and Razor Ramon. All of a sudden, music hits. Back on! Wait a second. There's someone else here we weren't anticipating. Hassan Reddick's here. Hassan Reddick's here. And then all of a sudden you get crazy. Sure, that works for me, baby. And it's true. The fans are pissed at him. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, here's the fact. Here's how I see it, right?
Sure. All right.
His ship of negotiations is really sailed, and I'll tell you that because if he has to show up by week 6, I'd say Reddick or no Reddick, the Jets are 4-1. So what has he proven, right? What has he proven by holding out, right? It's different, and I'm gonna use right. It's not like when Emmitt Smith held out and they lost the first 2 games and the Cowboys' hopes of winning a Super Bowl were going out the window, right? Reddick, they're going to be 4-1 without Reddick. And then we're going to see where these other players are shoring up the defense, right? Because, again, one not as good player at one position on the defense is not going to prevent them from going 4-1. So I think really the leverage is slipping once I want to trade. Okay, Sparky, you're not getting one. Sit down. So he hasn't got any leverage. They're going to be 4-1 regardless. He's just going to show up and play out the rest of the year. And so, I mean, that's really how I see it. So I think the Jets are fine. Again, we'll be talking in how many ever weeks that is from now, but 7 or 8 weeks or 4-1, Reddick shows up or doesn't. Right. He's obviously going to show up. He's not going to ride it out for another year. But yeah, I don't see, again, we talked about yesterday, his leverage is gone, and going into the season is not going to help him. Right. If he could hold that longer, maybe, but they're 4-1 regardless of he's there or not with the way the schedule lays out.
And training camp, by the way, wraps up in a few days. I see people saying maybe he'll show up after camp. Yeah, you got the Giants joint practice, and basically training camp's over. So, yeah, maybe that's it. I don't know, but training camp isn't what it used to be. So it's not like he's avoiding what the old players used to avoid with 2-a-days, 3-a-days, and crazy stuff like that. It's all routine. And plus, even for Reddick, with only a handful of days left, he wouldn't be doing a whole heck of a lot. They have that practice to play protocol, so like they would slow play him anyway. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see when we see him though.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about him no more.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, throw him out. He's what evidence do we have that he's even a Jet? Even on the day he showed up, he didn't wear a Jets hat. He just wore a slightly green tinted hat. I've never seen him in any Jets gear in my life, so I have no idea if he really exists.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say he's a waste of time talking about him, but he's not on the team, and so we got other players that are superb that we should be talking about, like my man Will McDonald.
He had a farm.
Let's go, Will.
Damn straight. Thanks for the call, Terrence.
All right, guys. Have a good morning, Jet fans and everybody.
There we go. Appreciate it. Let's give him one of these. I don't know who's going to hear this, but for those that did, you get it.
Yeah, I heard that. You cut it off a little bit early, but I heard it.
Okay, great. All right. Well, Pop, I'm sure you got to do some preparations for breakfast and things of that nature. So I will sign off here on Boy Green Daily with a hour episode here. And hopefully people enjoyed it. We had the post-game show last night / early this morning. It was more so this morning. That was for 45 minutes. Got another hour now until in less than 2 hours. Jets worldwide. Wide. With the game show, which should be a lot of fun with Snowball and Johnny Boy. Again, I can't recommend it enough. You guys can find that channel on YouTube by simply searching all one word, Jets Worldwide. Hit subscribe and get ready. The video, if you go to their live section, it's just sitting there. It's Boy Green and Woody on the cover. Just hit notifications, hit it, say notify me when the video goes live, and you should get a little notification for it. So should be a lot of fun coming up here in a few hours.
Yeah, no bacon. Next weekend, I'll be back on location in the beautiful White Mountains and with your lovely mother.
Sure.
And she'll be cooking up a few pounds of bacon. But today I've got to go to the hotel lobby and fight off 6-year-old kids' diseases and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's not ideal. Yeah.
That sounds gross. But, well, you got to do what you got to do. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Like Mike Rubino, thanks for the Power Hour, BG, or Chew, or Addison, or any of these people, Terrence Hill, Jets Worldwide. I appreciate all you guys. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe to the 400 people that are watching live. And I know a ton of people watch or listen after the fact. We appreciate you guys as well. Again, if you are watching live, again, make sure you go check me out. I'll be back live again, not on this channel. It'll only be on Jets Worldwide on YouTube. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And up next, we have one preseason game, Pop, and then it's over. And then our sights turn towards the 2024 season. And by the way, a month from tomorrow, me and you will be at MetLife Stadium for New York Jets versus New England Patriots, September 19th. Crazy to think about.
32 days. 32 days, baby.
Can't wait. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we will see you in a little bit. Take care.